Hello everyone, it's Scott and welcome to the first previews from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. We saw these cards get previewed at MagicCon Chicago over the weekend, and let's dive into what we know so far about Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So from all the previews we've seen so far in terms of artwork, we knew Oko was going to be in this set, and here's his card. So for two, a green and a blue, you get Oko the ringleader, and he has 3 loyalty. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Oko the ringleader becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature you control until end of turn, except he has hexproof. His +1 ability draws 2 cards. If you've committed a crime this turn, discard a card, otherwise discard 2 cards. For -1, you can create a 3/3 green elk creature token, and for -5, for each other non-land permanent you control, create a token that's a copy of that permanent. So very powerful ultimate ability there. Basically, you can double the size of your board entirely. So nice ability there when you can ultimate Oko. Now, what we need to talk about here is the crime ability. What does that actually mean? So committing a crime means that you've targeted either a spell, a creature your opponent controls, a permanent your opponent controls, or your opponent at some time before combat begins to trigger Oko's crime ability. So a crime is simply targeting your opponent with something, whether it's a counter spell, whether it's a spell that's going to hit one of their creatures or your opponent. That's what committing a crime is in this set. So we've got 2 versions of the card. We've got the normal version, and then we also have a wanted version of Oko. And we'll see for the band of characters that are with Oko, they're going to all have wanted posters as well, or wanted poster cards. So we'll see some more of those within the set. Now, I think Oko definitely is a playable card in Standard, but the limitation that I see so far on it is the fact that it's in Simic colors. We really haven't gotten to a good place with the Simic deck yet, but maybe with this set we'll get a little bit closer to that. Next, we've got Tiny Bones, the pickpocket. For a black mana, you get a legendary creature, the Skeleton Rogue. That's a 1/1 with Death Touch, and whenever Tiny Bones, the pickpocket, deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So Tiny Bones has a really nice ability. If you can get Tiny Bones to do combat damage to your opponent, then you're going to be able to cast any non-land permanent card out of their graveyard, and you can use any mana to do that. So that's a really powerful ability on Tiny Bones. So I think he's got a home somewhere in Standard, but it may be in a Dimir deck where we can give him the abilities to be unblockable by your opponent that we see in blue, and I think that's where he probably fits the best, but we'll see where we see Tiny Bones. And Tiny Bones first appeared in Jumpstart, and now we're getting a regular Standard card for him. He also has a wanted treatment, and we will see other treatments like this as we continue to preview the set. Next, we've got Duelist of the Mind. For 1 and a blue mana, you get a human advisor. That's a *3 with flying and vigilance. Duelist of the Mind's power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. Whenever you commit a crime, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. And this is Nathan Stoyer's card from World Championship 28. So I expect this to be a good card, because pretty much all of the cards that they've made for World Championship winners, they've all been successful cards in Standard, so I would assume this one will be as well. And blue, we know, can draw a lot of cards, so I think that it is very possible to get the Duelist of the Mind to 3, 4, maybe even more power on a turn, depending on what's going on. And because of that, I think this is going to be a good Magic card in Standard. Next, we've got Fibblethip, Lost on the Range. For 1 and 2 blue mana, you get a legendary creature. That's a homunculus. He's a 1/1 and Ward 2. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to its mana cost. And you may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. So right now we don't know what plot is, but Fibblethip looks like the card that's going to be the enabler of plot, because you look at the top of your library, you can plot a card equal to its mana value, and then you can cast those from the top of your library. So I think Fibblethip probably is designed to be as part of a plot deck. Next, we've got Hell to Pay. For X and a red mana, you get a sorcery. Hell to Pay deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tap treasure tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to that creature this way. So this is an X spell that may have some playability in standard, but I'm not holding my breath on it because we've already got a couple of X spells that are similar to this, but they don't have that ability to create treasure tokens if you deal excess damage. So there's a possibility that we could see this as maybe a 1 of or 2 of in the right kind of deck in standard. Definitely doesn't go in the mono red deck, because really we've got other things that do that just better, that ability to kill a creature. All right, so those are the core set previews from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And now here you can see the main cast of characters that are part of Oko's team. We've got Kellen, Tiny Bones, Vraska, and Rakdos as part of this. So let's take a look at what we know about them so far. So we know we're going to get a Vraska card. Now the question is she a Planeswalker? Based on our history, probably not, because we know that they're only planning to have one Planeswalker in a set. So I'm going to assume that Vraska has lost her Planeswalker spark. Next, we've got Rakdos. So Rakdos has found his way to Thunder Junction, and he is teaming up with Oko in his team in their quest to get into the vault that is the holder of buried treasure, in essence, on the plane, and that's what they're trying to get a hold of. So with that in mind, we have a special insert set that is called the Big Score. So in that vault, there are going to be new to standard cards that are going to be specifically from the vault. Now, these are going to appear in packs on basically in the list spot. So we'll see them appearing regularly. And my understanding is they're all going to be mythic rares based on what they said at the MagicCon panel. So our first is Nexus of Becoming. For 6 mana, you get an artifact. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you get to draw a card. Then you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand. If you do, create a token that's a copy of the exile card, except it's a 3/3 Golem artifact creature in addition to its other types. So nice little ability here where you can exile a card from your hand that's an artifact or a creature, and then it becomes a 3/3 Golem. And if it was a creature card, it maintains all of its other abilities. So I think, Tiny Bones would be a good little card to have this way. Make it a 3/3 Golem artifact creature in addition to his other types, and that might make him a little bit more powerful when it comes to attacking. Our second card preview was Sword of Wealth and Power. So with Sword of Wealth and Power, it's an equipment and an artifact. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and from sorcery. So nice ability there, basically saying that the equipped creature cannot be the target of instants or sorceries your opponent has, which is a really nice ability. So the only way to get rid of that creature is going to be with a board wipe or a sacrifice ability from a card. So I think that makes this card definitely something I would consider playing in standard. But whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a treasure, so it's going to be doing even more for you if you can get that bonus of attacking and dealing combat damage. And when you're when you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, you get to copy it. You may choose new target for the copy. So very nice combination of abilities here on the card. So you attack with it, you deal damage, you get a treasure token, and then you get to cast an instant or sorcery that you get to copy. And I think that makes this definitely a card I think is worth considering in Standard. And we've got a number of artifacts already that are pretty good in Standard, but this might be realistically the best of the swords that we've got right now, because it has that protection from instants and sorceries that the creature is going to receive, and I think that's a game changer for the sword here. Next, we've got our second bonus sheet from the set, and these are going to be cards that are going to be reprints, but these are going to be breaking news cards where some kind of crime has been committed. So the first is Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is a staple in Modern and in Pioneer, where target player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, that player discards that card, and you lose 2 life. So a very useful card in black that sees play in Pioneer and in Modern. And then we also get Crime and Punishment for 3 a white and a black mana. You get a sorcery to put target creature or enchantment from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, thus committing a crime by targeting their graveyard. And then Punishment, you get to destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value X, and you're paying X and a black and a green mana to get access to that spell. So that's our second bonus sheet. So we've got our big score bonus sheet of cards that are going to be standard legal, and then we have our breaking news sheet, and these are going to be cards that are not standard legal, but you can expect to see one of these cards in every pack from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. All right, so let's talk about some of the information from the set. So story is going to begin on March 16th. We're going to see our debut and preview gallery begin on March 26th, and we'll complete the previews on April 5th. The Arena Global pre-release will happen on April 16th. Our Global Tabletop pre-release will be on April 19th, and Outlaws of Thunder Junction gameplay events. So a pre-release will be from 12th through the 18th. Open house will be the 19th through 21st. Commander Party will be April 26th through May 2nd. Store Championship May 4th through the 12th. And Standard Showdown will be April 19th through July 25th for this set. All right, so that's our first look at Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with more previews from Outlaws of Thunder Junction when the set begins previewing next month. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.